Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well out there.
Hello and welcome back.
It does feel over this way that it's starting to head a little bit towards spring. I could feel it warming up, but it's not the case in many places, as we're going to see.
I know we got expansion going on, but with expansion comes rumbling.
Yeah, there's lots of rumbling. And we talked about this the other day. We got nearly 5,000 earthquakes hitting Rejanques Peninsula in 2 days over in Iceland. 2 days. And some of these are as big as 5.7. There's quite a few in the fives and fours. This is a serious swarm we got going on. The thoughts are that there could be some volcanic activity that's going to be going.
Yes, there could be, and I think that there's going to be much more to follow.
Oh, yes, much more, I'm sure. And by the way, aviation color code for Krýsuvík volcano raised to yellow in Iceland. And yes, these words may be butchered, perhaps, and I'm sure there'll be one comment that leads to 20 people saying how you need to pronounce something.
I think you're pretty darn good at pronouncing.
Well, some things, but not that. Definitely not that. Definitely not anything when it comes to Icelandic or the Scandinavian. Those are the toughest languages.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
So over at Taal Volcano in the Philippines, we see increased seismic activity as well. 113 volcanic tremors. It's getting real busy, and as we've been saying, I think we're gonna just see a lot of them going off at the same time. And depending on where they're at, they could definitely affect the cooling of the planet even more. And look at this, the rainbow is ending in Kilauea. Is that not interesting?
Yeah, that's kind of beautiful.
It is. Kilauea has been active as well and has had that lava lake growing. So, by the way, there's 7 new volcanoes coming online in this past week when you have ongoing activity for 14 others. So as we have been saying, yeah, it's picking up, and we still have a ton of activity in the skies. Here we see central Arkansas, meteor fireball streaking across the sky. It's that down there. It's kind of distant, not one of the more impressive ones that we've seen from dash cams. But we've just seen so many of these.
There's a lot. It's like a portal's opened or something.
Yes, and that was what we were talking about yesterday that I don't think we really got into in detail. Because some of these, like, Mallorca, that's, double L is like a Y in Spanish. That was one of the ones that people were criticizing yesterday, the pronunciation of, and that's off of Spain. There's been so many of them over there, and you were picking up on it's because it's a portal area.
Yeah, it is a portal area for sure.
And so there's a lot of portals being opened now. Yeah, most definitely. There's lots of entities coming to and fro as we're talking about the battle in the heavens going on. And when we say that, we mean both in the skies over our head and on other densities like 4D. Somebody said there is no battle in the heavens. It's only here on Earth. But again, the heavens are what's up in the sky, and then we could also take it in different densities. And there's a lot of battling going on in the lower astral realm, in lower 4D. So snow, and more snow. Heavy snow engulfs many parts of Russia. You have, I think it was 30,000 people that are without power there. You had over 30 cars that were stranded, and people had to be rescued because they couldn't proceed on the highways. And over in Dagestan, you see animals are being buried alive because the snow is coming up so fast, and meters of snow. And Dagestan actually puts out some of the best MMA fighters in the world, as we know, Khabib and others. It's amazing, the swings that we're seeing. And just look at this picture. That's a lot of snow. I mean, what is she, like 20 feet up off the ground there? This is in Japan, and we had saw disruptions to the water supply in Texas. And over in Japan, same thing. We have thousands without water. And here we see the northern hemisphere snow mass jumps to 700 gigatons above 1982 to 2012 average. Arctic sea ice sees exponential gains, and Icelandic volcanoes, as we know, are stirring. This is huge. So now the swing seems to be, as we could see the curve, it seems to be heading in one direction perhaps. A little more strong than the other direction, but I am expecting personally to be hearing about record high temps, and I would expect to hear we'll probably have power outages in the areas that you don't want to have power outages when it's, summer and 100+ degrees like Texas and Arizona.
Yeah, so you want to be prepared for the heat too, and now is a good time to start getting ready.
Yeah, and you had gotten from the guides that that's exactly what's probably going to happen in summer, and Texas will end up being hit again. As we were talking about, over 7,700 households without water as the record snow hits Hokkaido. Hokkaido is the northernmost island, and it does tend to get more snow than the rest of Japan. But here we see Germany registering greatest temperature change since records began in 1880. So things are, the switch is really being turned here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, so you have temperatures as low as negative 23.8 Celsius, 10, almost 11 below Fahrenheit being recorded. Records, are just falling everywhere. And how about a 40 degrees Celsius difference in only 6 days? Such a temperature change has never been measured before in Germany. So now we're getting into, setting all-time records where we have nothing that we could compare things to.
Yeah, I know. Just all we can do is kind of watch and see what happens.
And, it's happening all over the globe, because now we jump all the way over to Australia. And, of course, they're in a different season than the northern hemisphere. And we see 19 inches of rain in New South Wales. And so, obviously, 19 inches of rain coming in a short period of time is going to do a lot of damage. There's no two ways about it, as we see this train derailment. And, there's people stranded. It's just a mess. You have people being rescued again. Again, we're seeing boats going down, the streets. Here you see greenhouses being destroyed. That's the last thing that we need, is greenhouses being destroyed. And as we've talked about so many times, where's there a good place to be? We were out in the desert here, and we've gotten quite a bit of snow. And then when it warmed up, we were lucky to get down the road. It was just such a huge mud bog. You could see where people, it's I can understand the mud floods that come periodically, and it just feels like we're seeing something that's going to boggle the masses' minds.
Yeah, it is. And all we can really do is just keep getting more and more prepared.
So they have the new map of the solar neighborhood showing binary stars are all around us. Very, very common thing, binary stars. I've heard BP Earthwatch, who's the guy that we enjoy and we like and we followed for years. He was talking about Earth's binary twin being Jupiter, but I disagree. And he also views Jupiter as Nibiru, which again I don't agree with that. And it's okay. We could all agree to disagree on different things. When we asked the guides, or I asked Cindy to ask the guides, because I remember she had talked about this before when she was in kind of a trance there, saying that Earth is actually part of a trinary system, and that our stars that we're in with is the Sirius A and B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm getting there.
And interesting, that takes us to Egypt, in so many ways too. They found a 20 million year old petrified tree found intact in Lesbos. Is it a tree or is it part of a giant? Ha ha ha.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. And so it's pretty wild. We really don't know our history, again, as we've said, and you guys were reiterating so much. History is written by the victors, and if the ones that are ruling the planet are the equivalent of our Satan or the adversary, then obviously our history is very obfuscated. Yes, very, very obscured.
Yeah, see, you said that great.
Yeah. I'm just playing with everybody here. And we have an army of 10,000 ducks on the hunt.
That's a big army of ducks.
Yes, they're coming to get the Draco.
I feel safe now.
Yes. No, actually they're not. But they are going through rice paddies. And so this is a symbiotic relationship where they go through the rice paddies and they get rid of the nasty bugs. And then they also get rid of some, less than perfect rice as well. So they eat their way through the paddies after a harvest in order to, go and get ready for the next planting. And we were watching some of our homesteading channels, and they use pigs like that too, to go through, upturn, and just get the soil ready for another planting. And then same thing with using like the chickens to go in and then fertilize. So there's like a symbiotic relationship that we can have with all of nature, but we don't, unfortunately, with the way the system is, because instead of using things that are natural, they'll just kind of spray toxins and poisons and, randomly, and not always rotate crops, planting the same crop year after year in the same spot, leaching the soil, taking away the nutrients. I've spoken about this before a long time ago, but like a carrot from 100 years ago would have 10 times the nutritional value that one does now, grown conventionally. And if you eat an organic carrot that even, is, say, like looking kind of skinny and scrawny, half the size of, one that's quote unquote conventional, it'll have more nutrition than the big one. So there again, bigger's not always better.
Right.
It depends on the content of it. Yes, nutritional content. That's part of why too there's a lot more dis-ease, besides all the toxins in the sky, toxins in the food. We need to be constantly detoxifying every single day, as well as physically. We also need to do that emotionally, to let go of the negative energies that are constantly assaulting us.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's like the darkness it's got its Velcro grip on now.
Yeah, and then there's a lot more stuff for us to talk about in other videos that's going on, but same thing geopolitically. It's always about creating the drama and the trauma.
Trauma is a big business for them.
Yes, because it locks in the lower vibrations. Guys, thanks for being part of the family. Make sure you are subscribed and have the bell clicked. Hopefully you get some notifications. Thanks for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. We really couldn't do it without you guys. And as always, God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.